Colleague Yara Abbas, reporter of Syrian News TV channel, is martyred at the hands of terrorists in the Qseir countryside. Units of the Syrian army continue their progress along various fronts in Qseir and kill and wound terrorists in other cities. Lavrov and Kerry discussed in Paris today the preparations for the second international conference on Syria, and China welcomes this initiative. The Syrian Union of Journalists announced the death of colleague Yara Abbas, who was shot dead by terrorists near Al-Ikhbariya airport in the Al-Qseir countryside in Homs. May her soul rest in peace, and may her relatives and family be granted patience.
قواتنا المسلحة ما زالت مستمرة في التصدي لهاللحون. هي محاولات فاشلة من قبلهم للقول وللزعم بأنهم يستطيعون.
That was the last report prepared by our colleague Martyr Yara Abbas, and it was aired at Al-Ikhbariya news station. Yara, who accompanied the Syrian Arab Army for coverage of their victories and to reveal the criminal nature of Jabhat al-Nusra and their Takfiris, was known for her courage to be always in the forefront. Despite her injury in Aleppo, Yara, so devoted to her country, insisted on continuing her career, uncovering the savage acts of the terrorists. Meeting the residents of Al-Qseir, Yara recognized the reality of the terrorists who killed many citizens and destroyed their town. She also experienced the will of the Syrian Arab Army soldiers who insisted on eradicating terrorism. Yara on the ground conveyed the truth and expected the defeat of the terrorists, who in turn were afraid of Yara and her comrades. They ambushed the team of Al-Ikhbariya at the village of Al-Dab'a and opened fire on the car that carried them. Yara fell a martyr, and the two cameramen, Osama Dayoub and Badr Awad, were injured. Yara's reports and her voice remained to reveal the terrorists' ugly crimes. Minister of Information Dr. Amran al-Za'bi condemned the killing of the journalist Yara at the hands of the terrorists, saying that Yara was not the first Syrian journalist who was killed at the hands of the terrorists, hoping she will be the last one. He expressed sorrow for losing a brave, hard-working correspondent who was well known for her devotion and her great love to her country.
Syrian border guards foiled an attempt to infiltrate into Syria from the Lebanese village of Arsal to the hamlet of Al-Ikhbariya and Al-Qseir countryside. The terrorists sustained heavy losses in the clash. A Syrian Arab Army unit also killed and wounded many terrorists in the northern quarter of the town and restored security and stability to the town of Al-Hamidiyya after destroying the last terrorist hideout there. The army is fully in control of the eastern entry of the northern quarter. It has cut off the supply lines of the terrorists. The army also defused dozens of different explosive devices among the houses along the public roads. A Syrian Arab Army unit attacked terrorist groups in Khan al-Sheikh in Damascus countryside, killing and wounding large numbers of them. The army also continued to chase terrorist gangs in Al-Rihan, Adra, the farms of Al-Qasimiyya in eastern Ghouta in Damascus countryside. The army confiscated the weapons of the terrorists, including heavy machine guns. The dead terrorists included Muhammad al-Farran. Several terrorists of the so-called Al-Nusra Front were also killed in Adra, including Raif Tuma and Bassem al-Hussein. A Syrian Arab Army unit clashed with terrorists who tried to infiltrate into the village of Dahrat Abd Rabbo in the area of Al-Liramun in Aleppo, killing and wounding several of them and destroying their hideouts near the central jail and destroying their weapons. During the search of the village, hundreds of explosive devices were defused and different weapons were captured, including Israeli-made bombs and several vehicles carrying heavy machine guns. The restoration of security and stability to the village was very important because it cut off weapon supplies to the terrorists hiding in the area. Moreover, the army stormed several terrorist hideouts near Handarat camp along the highway between Aleppo and Idlib. Russian Foreign Ministry said that Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his U.S. counterpart John Kerry will discuss today evening in Paris issues related to preparations for the second international conference on Syria, which is set to be held next month in Geneva. Russian sources said that today's meeting between Lavrov and Kerry is the sixth since the beginning of the year, pointing out that their previous meetings in Berlin, London, Brussels, Moscow and Kiruna also focused on the necessity of finding a political solution for the crisis in Syria. In their talks earlier this month in Berlin, the two ministers reached an agreement on convening a second conference in Geneva without preconditions. The Chinese Foreign Ministry asserted that it continued to support any efforts leading to a political solution to the crisis in Syria. The spokesman of the Foreign Ministry announced China's welcome of the initiative to hold the International Conference on Syria in Geneva and that it would actively join this conference. The official spokesperson of the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Mr. Abbas Martyred, asserted that the statement of the French Foreign Minister was aimed at covering up France's intervention in Syria's internal affairs. He asserted that such French statements were false and caused large human and material losses in Syria. He added that the responsibility of complicating the situation in Syria falls upon the states which support the terrorists with weapons to increase the scale of violence in Syria. He pointed out that Iran had always worked to stop violence and to implement reforms. The solution of the crisis in Syria should only come through Syrian national dialogue. Prime Minister Dr. Al-Halqi asserted that the Syrian people have all chosen the way out of the crisis through implementation of the political solution. Nobody will ever decide the fate of these great people on their behalf. During the meeting of the Ministerial Committee, designed to carry out the political programs with members of the political office of the Syrian National Social Party, the Prime Minister surveyed the fruitful efforts of previous meetings with all the political parties and social activities to solve the crisis, asserting that living conditions and living nations overcome difficult situations through a stand of dignity based on unity and firm belief in the people and their ability to overcome such difficulties. The Committee of the Parties' Affairs continued its meetings with members of the political offices of the new parties. During his meeting with the Vanguard Democratic Party, the Minister of Interior, General Muhammad Ibrahim al-Sha'ar, asserted that these new parties are national parties that aim to support the interests of the country and to raise the national awareness in the political, economic and social fields. He pointed out that the committee continued its work to help these parties and to remove the difficulties they face. The committee will bring to account all those working without license, and members of the party expressed appreciation of the work of the committee and the help it gave to new parties. With this, we come to the end of our news for today. For more details, you can visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Stay with us after the break, the latest in economy and finance.